Hello everybody, my name's Darin. It's like Darren, but it's Darin. Last name Pev, and I'm originally from Bulgaria. Wait a minute. I thought I already said that. Aha. You know what? That's my second me. That's the other Darren. That's my other me. He didn't know that I already said that. You will see him from time to time. We rarely hang out together. The topic this time is space. I talked just a little bit about it last time. Why do I do it again? Well, we usually underestimate its importance. Actually, everything happens in space, and its properties are of enormous importance for us, for all that occurs or does not. Space is something cool to have around, but it's very easy to miss if you do. It's like looking at yourself in the mirror. You hardly ever notice the mirror behind the images responsible for what you can see. We continue where we left off last time. We considered this diagram showing the different levels of reality, starting from zero form, gradually increasing the amount of form, reaching the level of elementary particles. What do I mean by form? Less form means more freedom to express or manifest different opportunities to make them happen. In even simpler terms, what form means, the less form something exhibits, the more it can do. And that's why the level sitting at zero form here has absolutely no limitations to express and manifest anything. It's limitless. I'm going to talk about physical space in particular. According to string theory, space's dimensions come into two flavors. Imagine a spider web. Here we can talk about two different kinds of dimensions. One is along the length of the spider thread, which is very visible. I can easily, for example, say how long it is. However, there is one more, which is curled up, and that's the circumference of the spider thread. That's a different thing. I can hardly notice any details on the side of the spider thread. Even less I can write down my name on the side of it. I'm just too big to be able to access or to be able to work on that tiny scale. According to string theory, that's what happens in space. There are large, very visible dimensions, and there are also curled up, very, very tiny dimensions, so small you can hardly imagine them. At the same time, it's impossible to operate at that scale of length with the crude tools we possess today. String theory says if we start with the regular three-dimensional space of our universe, here it is, and go smaller and smaller and smaller, all the way down to the scale of elementary particles, which are in actuality minuscule vibrating filaments like strings, we will find extra dimensions curled in themselves into intricate shapes. These shapes are called Calabi-Yau manifold. There is not just a single extra dimension, but a good 7 extra ones. With the addition of the 3 large dimensions and 1 for time, the total number of space-time dimensions in string theory is 11. Within string theory, there are not only strings-like objects, but sort of surfaces as well. They are called branes, from membrane. Even our three-dimensional space can be one of these, since when seen from the perspective of all 10 spatial dimensions, it is a kind of surface. The strings that are actually the elementary particles of the universe are open-ended strands. Their ends are tied down to the brain of our universe, and they cannot travel into the larger universe. The vibrational patterns of the strings, or roughly their frequencies, determine what kind of elementary particles exist in our universe. Question: what sets the allowed vibrations? Answer: the shape of the tiny extra dimensions. Other universes within the big 11-dimensional universe can have all 11 dimensions split into different numbers of apparent large dimensions and hidden dimensions. For example, 5 big dimensions and the rest are tiny extra dimensions. This yields different strings vibrational pattern. In turn, different elementary particles with different properties exist in that universe. That means the tables with basic physical constants would be different. That could support beings with totally different bodies. We not only talk about our own universe, but an entire multiverse composed of infinite other kinds of universes. Sometimes they might even collide. Here's an example of different universes. Why in the hell I'm talking about things that are already well known? I mean, seriously, for me it's a waste of time to start talking about the gypsies! Son of a... The point is the new stuff no one else can give you. But in order to present you new stuff, you need to understand the very basics of the old ones. In the hierarchy of reality levels, string theory operates at the level of physical space. Some scientists do not favor string theory because they consider it too uneconomic with its 11 dimensions. However, we must not fall into the trap of economy. Remember, if everything were the simplest way possible, there would be no existence at all, for that's the simplest and most economic scenario, total absence of any existence. The approach I put forward last time, seen here, is a heuristic tool for us as well. It could help determining the coherence of an idea. Since string theory sits on a level just 2 steps away from the totally limitless level, 1, 2, it is expected that it should possess a lot of potential for giving rise to a huge variety of opportunities. It should possess a large number of variables, in other words, degrees of freedom, that can realize a rich diversity of options. More dimensions mean space can do more. I am very far from claiming string theory is right or wrong. I can just offer a heuristic tool based on the picture or the view of reality I put forward. String theory fits really well into that picture, and that's all I'm saying. As in anything else in science, the experiment has the final word. The experiment is the king in science. And those things are the finish for today. Ooh, that's your wife and I should be ashamed? Well, if that's your wife, you should be ashamed.